Joining me now is our Mayor, Cam Guthrie. Happy New Year, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you and all your viewers as well.
When we look back at 2021, we had a full year of the pandemic with all the ups and downs that brought. One of the ups was the vaccine rollout, and we were one of the most vaccinated regions quickly in Canada and really North America. What stands out to you from our vaccine rollout and the pandemic?
Well, it almost didn't surprise me that we really kind of earned that title as a community of really rallying together around vaccines. When we hit that 90% mark, and now that was before the children age 5 to 12 came out, but I just looked around the room on that day that I was at the clinic, and I saw a 12 or 13-year-old girl getting a vaccination, and I also saw, I think she was 100 years old in the same room at the same time. And I just saw that it doesn't matter sort of the age or the demographic issues. We did such a good job in pulling together, and much kudos to our public health unit and everyone else, both public sector and the private sector. I'm thinking like Skyjack, Linamar, that stepped up in town on the private sector side to provide a clinic, the University of Guelph, and so on. Everyone just really did their part, and that's a Guelph thing. I say it often, it's in our DNA, no matter sort of what the issue is, and that's kind of why it didn't surprise me.
What's the message now as we head into a new year, still dealing with this pandemic?
Get vaccinated. That clearly shows the science, the data, the metrics. Everything shows that for less health complications and or death, the vaccinations are working. And so, I just really encourage people that community spirit that we had in 2021, although we are all tired and we're on a little bit of this roller coaster ride, and our emotions can sometimes be everywhere. Do a kind of a self-check for yourself, your family, your coworkers, your community, your neighbors, to say we still got to pull together as best as we can and continue to get through in 2022 by getting vaccinated and continuing to look out for each other.
Housing is one issue you've identified as being important to you, and I think it's front of mind for many. Last year, we had successes in terms of supportive housing, but housing affordability is still an issue moving forward. Are we doing enough in that area?
No, we need to do more. There's no problem saying that out loud. As we get into these situations where it's quite clearly obvious to everyone of the cost of homes, we need to do more. And when I say the word we, it is a collective we. It is municipality, it is the province, it is the federal government, and it is developers too, in the private sector, even the nonprofit sector as well. We all have a role to play in trying to help with market affordability. But when I talk about housing often, and I'm going to do it again now, there's a housing continuum, and we can't just focus on the market ownership or the market rent housing issues. We have a continuum of, it starts with, unfortunately, homelessness, into supportive housing, into affordable rent geared to income housing, affordable market rents, market ownership, and so on. And so that continuum needs to be addressed at all points along that. And that's why I'm hoping that the summits that have been called by the province and the federal government will actually look for action. And we can talk, and we can, politicians getting together, how far is that going to go? But I don't mind talking, but we got to move to action really quick. And that's why we all have a role to play.
It can be hard to do these year in review things because so many of these projects are big multi-year projects, long-term plans. Are we on track in your mind in where we need to be in terms of moving some of these projects forward?
We are. I think some of them have been a long time. A couple of examples would be like the Baker Street redevelopment downtown, or the South End Rec Center that's been talked about for a long time too. So finally, to see those approved and moving forward, is a good thing. I will say that COVID obviously has caused a wrinkle in everything that the city does, and that should be no surprise to anyone because it's causing a wrinkle in your business, in your family as well. We're not immune to those hurdles that kind of pop up. But I think it's good that those big projects were finally, identified by council that we have to get moving forward on them, and they're going to be such great community assets. It's something that I have been trying to get going for a long time myself. So it was a little bit of a check mark on my own personal list to get that done. And the community will really reap the benefits when those two projects are done. So I think too, not only getting them going, but as we get into recovery out of COVID, having those huge projects done where they are going to create jobs and create at the end of it, especially the Baker Street development downtown with more green space, the opportunity for more businesses and commercial to be there as well. Those give back to the community from that perspective, whereas the South End Rec Center, of course, gives back to the community with the healthy lifestyles and a growing community in the South End needs that rec center.
Looking ahead to 2022, there is a provincial election scheduled for this spring. Is this an opportunity to get some municipal issues on the agenda at Queen's Park?
Oh, yes. I can't wait. So, it's interesting. There's always advocacy work that our intergovernmental staff and myself do constantly. But there are these moments when election comes up where we will basically shove across the table or the virtual table, the top kind of 5 list of what the city of Guelph is really looking for from a commitment from the candidates. It doesn't matter what party it is. We have the same top issues that we want to make sure we put in front of them. During the last federal election, as an example, and I'm trying to remember them all, but transit, housing affordability, climate change mitigation, municipal finance because of the impacts of COVID, and so on. And so those types of things may be the same coming for the provincial election in June. They may change a little bit, but I definitely will be promoting it quite widely so that the citizens of Guelph and the businesses of Guelph know exactly what the city is advocating for, because I think that is an important decision when people go to the ballot box. They have to obviously agree with the values or the platforms that the party is stating, but how do they reflect to the city that we're trying to maintain and grow here? And I think that's an important point for voters to know before they go to the ballot box.
And of course, after that, we get a municipal election as well. You've already said you're running again.
Is there one? Oh yeah. Yes. I really am excited about that. And and in all honesty, I don't think about it until someone from the media usually asks me about it. Then I'll answer. But I'm really focused on the COVID impacts, some of these large projects, and other issues that are going to be coming forward. The election starts, in the fall, and we'll go with it on that. I've really enjoyed my time as mayor, and I'm hoping the community obviously thinks I've been doing a good job as well. It's up to them. But I love this city, and I want to continue to lead as much as I can in this role. And COVID has caused a little bit of it's kind of hijacked all mayors, all councils in Ontario and across Canada, and some of the things I wanted to get done, unfortunately, haven't been able to have that focus on because of COVID. So hoping another term would be great. And I'm looking forward to when that starts, as I said, down in the late in the fall.
Overall, how important is this election in terms of people tuning into municipal politics, whether that's running or supporting a candidate or even just getting out and voting?
Oh, I cannot tell you when I go to usually it's grade 5 or grade 10 civics classes, whether it's in person or virtual, as I've been doing lately. I tell them how important municipal elections are, to get involved, to volunteer, no matter who the candidate is. You get to learn about the impacts of what your municipal government really has in your everyday life. And trust me, everyone, it's way more than the provincial or the federal government. Yes, they're important, but the everyday impacts on your life are more closely associated with your municipal government. And so, unfortunately, it's usually the one with the least amount of turnout when it comes to voting. And so, I'm really hoping that people start to understand the impacts that a municipal government has on your everyday life, and translates that not into volunteering and getting involved, maybe running for a position, but also making sure you take the time to get to the ballot box and mark your ballot. Because I often said to people when I was walking door to door, if you give me 4 minutes, I'll give you 4 years. So if it takes 4 minutes to go and mark your vote, and if I win, I'll give you 4 years of my commitment to serve as you. And all candidates are basically asking the exact same thing. But those 4 minutes that you take to go and get educated on the candidates and go vote, it means a lot to your local community and the impacts that you'll have and engage with and interact with every single day.
Well, a busy year behind us and a busy year ahead of us. Thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me today.
Absolutely, anytime. Thanks so much.